So, yesterday we got ourselves a surprise announcement on the Eve Echoes Discord server. No, it wasn't a developer Q&A or another round of recruitment for official creators, but instead that controversial game mechanic that NetEase have completely left unchanged with no intention of returning to since its inception. So today we'll be skimming through the announcement and I'll be rambling my own thoughts as we go. But first, if you haven't already, please consider hitting that subscribe button. I'm currently pushing for 1,000 subscribers and I'm looking to host a giveaway competition later in the year when I hit that magical number. The details are still being ironed out, but will likely involve you getting the opportunity to shoot at me. So the sooner we hit that 1,000, the sooner we get that event and the sooner you get me on one of your kill mails. So moving on to the Eve Echoes website where we have the upcoming insurance update. Notice the words upcoming here. This is not something that's already been implemented, but it's something that they're planning on implementing over the coming weeks. And they've obviously given us a heads up as to what to expect, so they can get some feedback from the community. Odds are something in here will probably get rolled back if enough people complain about it, but we'll see what happens. So here we go. First and foremost, we have the point number 1. Dynamic insurance discount. This is basically saying what the discount rates currently are for the ships. So at the moment, whenever we claim a ship via insurance, we only have to pay 30% of its value or 80% in the case of capital ships. The wording can be a bit confusing, but that's the way around that it goes. It goes on to clarify that further into this insurance update, every ship will be considered its own unique model when it comes to insurance. So whenever you have subsequent insurance claims, it won't be based on how many different ships you've lost, but how many of the same ship you've lost. So if you lose 3 bowl guns and then a Raven, those 3 bowl guns won't affect the insurance claim for the Raven. So that's how number 1 here is intended to be worded. As always, it's going to be a bit difficult to always get your wording across here. So next up, if I can just straighten this out just about enough, we have the ship claims. Now, don't worry, I'm not going to be going through all of this verbatim. I've given it a quick skim read so I actually understand what's going on. What this is saying here is every ship that you lose in every natural month, so it's not based on the past 30 days, it's based on the month that it is on the calendar. Every ship you lose that is of the same hull, so every Armageddon you lose, will increase the next insurance claim for an Armageddon for that month by 10%, up to a maximum of 100% obviously. So if you lose 7 Armageddons in the space of the same month, then that last Armageddon and every Armageddon after that you claim is going to cost 100% of its value in insurance points. But of course that very first one is only going to cost you 30%. So yeah, that's an interesting one there. So that's how it's going to be working for regular ships. For capital ships it will be the same principle, only instead of starting at 30%, we're starting at 80%. I don't expect all that many people to be losing multiple capital ships of the same hull in the same month, but if you do, every capital ship you lose is going to cost more to replace until it hits 100%, and it's only going to take a couple to hit that number, isn't it? So yeah, that is how that will be working. Now, on the opposite side of the scale, we have what if you don't lose a ship? What if you're an absolute care bear like myself and you just rarely lose ships? Well, in that case, you will be getting a discount on your insurance. So in the case of a regular ship like an Armageddon, if you've gone at least a month without losing an Armageddon, you'll get a 10% discount on your insurance, meaning you only have to pay 20% of its value, not 30%, which is quite a bit of a boost. Now, it won't go any lower than 20% because 20% is the minimum cost that you'll be able to claim with insurance. So you won't be able to get your ship back for free if you've not lost any ships in the past 6 months. That's just not how it's going to work. And as for capital ships, the same principle applies, only you can only get the cost down as low as 50%. So yeah, you can replace your capital ships for even cheaper now. Some people consider that a good thing, others a bad thing. It depends on where you sit on that scale. And of course, there is the disclaimer how bugs aren't going to affect the number of claims. If you get something redeemed through customer service, that won't affect your insurance claims. Okay, so moving on to 1.2, other claims. This is talking about rigs and modules. Unfortunately here, the cost of the modules with insurance will not go down if you don't make any claims. It will always be 30% as a baseline. And I say as a baseline because if you keep on losing your ships, and let's say you lose your C-type pulse laser 5 times throughout the month, well, each one of those times that you lose that C-type pulse laser is going to go up in cost by 10% until it hits 100. So same with the ships, the value will go up with subsequent claims, but unlike the ships, it will stay flat at 30%. It will not go down to 20% if you're a Care Bear. So moving on, we have the deposit insurance points. This is one that I find quite interesting. So currently with insurance, if you have all of the insurance points that you need stockpiled on your account, then you get a 20% reduction, like a discount, to redeeming the cost of your ship for replacing it. If you don't have that 20% discount, then you've got to fork out the full 100%. What they're doing now is they're removing that 20% discount for already having that massive lump of insurance in your account. I personally kind of like that because it's making insurance a lot less viable, as it were. It's hard to explain, but I kind of see where they're going here, and I like the removal of this 20% discount. Moving on, we have the 1.4 claim expiration time. I don't know why I was going to merge all of that in my head then, but it's basically saying that the amount of time that you have to claim a lost ship has been boosted from 2 months to 6 months with insurance. And on the off chance that you can't exactly afford to replace your ship at this particular point in time, you can wait 1 to 3 months. And over that time, the cost of redeeming your ship will continue to go down gradually. So 20% for regular ships, 50% for capitals. So over time, you can get a cheaper ship back. So of course, I guess that would kind of help people that technically rage quit. Because if you lose your capital ship and that capital ship is worth 50 billion ISK, let's say, and in insurance points wise, you've only got 30 bill, you can't be bothered anymore, you've lost your ship, you don't know what you're logging into the game for, you're gone. You quit the game. 3 months later, you come back, you see how things are going. Oh, hello, that capital ship, I have enough insurance points now to reclaim it, because it's now gone from 80% to 50%. So it would entice people in those very specific and niche scenarios into enjoying the game again. Again, that's a very niche scenario. I don't know how many times that's actually going to happen. Next up, we have material value optimization. The bit that I like here the most is material efficiency in calculating ship valuation is now fixed at 100%. Previously, it was ranged between 100 and 115. What they're trying to do here is make the buy orders that the insurance system places actually competitive, because the amount of people that have publicly spoken out about the insurance system and how it's not actually profitable to make the ships for the insurance system because the buy orders are just too low, for example. So here it's actually assuming that a higher level of skill is going to be done for the manufacturing. For all ships that have not been traded on the market, their prices will be reduced by approximately 10% when valued based upon materials. I will probably need a bit of time to process that one in my head. If you have an example, feel free to let me know in the comments section below. That's one that I never actually wrapped my head around. So moving on, the PvP claim lock. The 12-hour lock timer starts from the time the ship was destroyed, not the time of the claim. I presume historically then it's been the time of the claim. I mean, I've lost so very few ships in PvP because I'm an absolute Care Bear that I don't actually know this one. If a PvP loss is claimed after 12 hours, there will be no time lock, and no time lock applies to nanocore items. So if you lose your ship with a really, really powerful nanocore on it, you get the nanocore back right away, and if you have a replacement ship to just slot the nanocore back into, then jobs are good and you're straight back out there. Now, here are where things get even more interesting. And my phone is ringing again. So, coming back now that the phone has stopped ringing to number 4, other plans. Here it's talking about a upcoming event to do with insurance. We've seen them before, the events whereby you can buy even more insurance points at a discount, and the ones whereby more insurance orders are placed on the market. But that's not the bit that interests me the most here. So if we scroll down, okay, so this particular paragraph that I'm just going to highlight for a second right here is the one that really interests me the most. So this bit I am going to read out verbatim. So currently, the Plex sell orders and ship purchase orders generated by the insurance company will occasionally see a drop at the same time. The primary cause for such a drop is the large number of gift IPs currently being distributed. We are considering introducing non-gift IP packages that could be directly purchased with Aurum, aiming to reduce the spending of Plex for gift IPs and encourage its use on the Omega clone system. This would create a better Omega clone buying experience for new capsuleers and others. So what we're seeing here is NetEase are saying, okay, we understand that going free to play and buying your Omega in-game with Plex is getting increasingly expensive, and newer players month after month are finding it even more difficult to buy even just basic Omega with 170 Plex using in-game ISK. What NetEase are doing here is saying, okay, we accept that Plex is going up. We're going to actually start reducing the demand for Plex by moving the purchase of insurance points gradually away from Plex across to Aurum. Now, this is going to make one camp of people really happy and another camp of people really sad. The PvP camp that have been quite happy being able to buy insurance points for ISK will be quite upset because all of a sudden you can't buy quite so much insurance. You might even find yourself in a point whereby you can't spend Aurum to get insurance points, and you might actually have to go to your local indie guys in order to replace all of your ships, modules, rigs, etc. On the other side of the coin, of course, your indie guys will be happy because they're getting the attention all over again, like it was before the insurance system. But more importantly, newer players coming into the game, if this plays out the way NetEase are intending, we'll see Plex prices starting to drop again and be able to, get the Omega clones without having to pour too much money into the game. Now, do I expect Plex prices to absolutely crash if they do this? Not at all. There are still plenty of people out there that are Tech 10 running AI with capsuleer outposts and getting a good maybe 20 hours a week of actual hands-on ratting in the game that can just infinitely buy Plex at this point. So the demand for Plex, yeah, we'll see how that goes. So yeah, what do I think about all of this then that we've just seen up on screen? And I'm just going to move this light, see if I can get rid of that little white haze. Can I get rid of that little white haze? Come on. There we go, a little bonus feature. I'm just going to have to hold my arm up like this, aren't I? I'm not doing that. Okay, I apparently need to do a little bit of work on the lighting in here. I didn't close the shutter blinds. I was hoping that the lighting I had would work just about fine. But anyway, what do I think about everything that's been discussed so far on this particular article? I do like that they're addressing the insurance system. I do like that they're moving away the purchase of insurance points away from Plex to Aurum, because that means that insurance is something you have to spend actual money on. So not everybody is going to be able to replace their ships free of charge using insurance. They'll have to go to their local indie guys. Their local indie guys will actually be able to start making smaller scale ships again. It's no longer going to be exclusively about building the next biggest newest structure or next biggest newest capital ship. It's not going to be a constant grind to see what the next big thing is we can build, because players are going to start gradually returning to their local indie teams saying, I lost 5 slasher interceptors this week. I can't afford the insurance points anymore for whatever reason. Maybe I've used them all up because the cost actually hit 100%, or maybe I've actually used all of them and I can't buy them with Aurum, so I need you guys to build me the replacements. That I do like the idea of. Again, it brings some attention back to indie. Do I believe it will fix indie and fix insurance and everything will be all hunky-dory? No. There's a lot more that could be done, but I do like what I'm seeing here, especially with the more flexible insurance rates. The more ships you lose, the more you have to pay. That's kind of more reflective of how real life insurance works. The fewer claims you tend to make, the cheaper your insurance gets. The more claims you make, the higher risk you are, and the higher your insurance goes up. So it's more reflective of how insurance tends to work in the real world. The only suggestion I would make to this, and of course I'm not expecting NetEase to listen to this suggestion, but the only add-on I would like to make to this, and this is so that it unlocks a new form of gameplay again, would be to move all insurance claims into HiSec. So if you wanted to reclaim a ship that you lost in nullsec, for example, you would have to reclaim it at a HiSec station. It could be any HiSec station or HiSec ITC, doesn't really matter. But the idea there would be, if you lose a ship, you have two options. You can either go to your local indie guys in nullsec and have them rebuild your ship, or you can reclaim it with your discount all the way down in HiSec and have to go through the logistics of moving it to null. Now, it sounds like a dumb idea at first, but think about it with regards to a big war that tends to always be going on in the game. There is this thing about logistics, not the healing in battle logistics, but the moving things from place to place logistics. So if an alliance wanted to stage its like attacking force at the NPC station in a random region whereby they're attacking their enemies, instead of just autopiloting there in interceptors and then reclaiming a bunch of ships through insurance that had been lost earlier in the week, what you'd actually have to do, because you can only reclaim them in HiSec, is actually do proper logistical move operations, whereby you go, okay, we're going to do a fleet of 50, we're going to move to the staging location from HiSec, and during that move our enemies have the chance to attack us. And along the way we'll have a bunch of freighters, maybe some jump freighters, in order to help us move as much stuff as quickly as possible. And it's just logistical operations like that I'd like to see more of in the game. More actual hauling through nullsec and lowsec without just using insurance as just a quick pass. But that's my own personal preferences. This is a mobile game after all. We do have to cut out some of the content just so that we can actually have some fun, because we don't tend to have as much time to play the game as the PC counterpart. But that is just one suggestion that I personally have. I'd like to know what you guys think. Do you think this will help the game out at all? Do you think it'll actually kill the game in a sense? Let me know what your thoughts are personally on the insurance system, and if you have any suggestions of your own. So yeah, thank you for watching this video all the way to the end. Don't forget to hit that like button or subscribe button if you haven't done already. Again, we will be having an event later in the year when I hit 1000. If you want a chance to win a bunch of ISK and get a kill mail of me, then hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for when that event goes live. But until then, thank you again for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Fly casual.
We're going to close it out. Guess what, Taylor? I didn't make a new outro yet. It's on the plans.
That's okay.
So we're going to cover our officially highlighted sponsored content creators. Go ahead, Taylor.
Oh, shit. Well, they are Jubilees. He's one of them. Ashiv's is another one as well. And of course, Damon Zell, who's here with us live tonight. Damon, thanks for being with us as always. Latour Tassadar, Kawari is one of those as well. I'm trying to think of who else here. Who have I forgotten about? Hale. I did mention Hale, Hael. He has a fantastic channel. He's what I would consider to be the new Benzie. Go, and it's actually good stuff. So go watch. And I meant that. I guess that's a bad thing to say. I won't call him new Benzie. That's horrible. That's so bad. But anyway, yeah, go for it. Good stuff over there. Watching him. Go subscribe to all of those guys. Follow them. Keep up with them. And then when you come here to talk with us, you'll see where they get all their content.
Right? You heard it here first, folks.
That's
You
right.
heard it here first.